All right, let's get straight to it. Today, I'm putting on my consultant hat. With more than 2 decades helping Formula student teams architect their electric powertrains, my job right now is to walk you through the single biggest decision your new EV team is going to make, and that is your powertrain strategy. Okay, so before we talk about anything else, we have to start with a serious dose of reality. Because when you look at the data for new teams in Formula Student Electric, well, let's just say it's pretty unforgiving. Over half. Just let that sink in for a second. More than 50% of brand new electric teams, they don't even finish their first endurance race. It is a brutal, brutal statistic that catches so many passionate teams completely off guard.
So why is that? What is the one thing, the primary point of failure, that consistently takes these teams out of the running right at the most important part of the competition?
Yep, at the end of the day, it almost always comes down to the powertrain, specifically a catastrophic failure because of heat. That 22-kilometer endurance event, it's a monster. It generates so much heat, and if your car can't shed it fast enough, your day is done. Simple as that. This one fundamental challenge, heat, it forces every new team to a strategic crossroads. You have to make a choice between two totally different design philosophies, and that choice is going to define not just your car, but your entire season. And look, this is way deeper than just picking two-wheel drive versus four-wheel drive. This is about your core strategy. Is your number one goal to build a car that is reliable enough to finish every single event and get those crucial points on the board? Or are you willing to roll the dice on a much more complex design for a shot at the top of the podium? All right, let's break down Path A, the pragmatic, reliability-first approach. This is the path that most successful mid-tier teams take. And honestly, it's the one I, as your consultant, would strongly recommend for any new team. We're talking about the two-wheel drive, rear inboard system. Now, the real beauty of this approach is how all these benefits just stack on top of each other. You're saving a good 15 to 25 kilos right off the bat, which is huge for your car's dynamics. You also get lower unsprung mass. That's all the stuff not supported by the springs. Less of that means your tires stay stuck to the track better. And maybe most importantly, it's just simpler. A chain or gear drive is easier to build and maintain, which lets your team focus its precious time and money on perfecting one system instead of wrestling with 4. So, to put it bluntly, this entire philosophy is designed with one goal in mind: to beat that nasty 50% failure statistic we talked about. It's all about making sure you get through tech inspection and you cross that finish line. Reliability over everything. But, let's be real. For some teams, just finishing isn't the goal. And that brings us to Path B, the podium gamble. This is the all-out four-wheel drive in-wheel motor architecture. It's the high-risk, high-reward strategy that you see from the absolute top teams in the world, like AMZ Zurich. And you can't deny the raw performance potential here. The grip you get from all 4 tires is just incredible. You can recover way more energy when you brake. But the real secret sauce, the game changer, is torque vectoring. This is where the car's software actively helps it rotate through a corner by playing with the power at each wheel. It can make you up to 9% faster in the corners, but, and you can see it right there in the table, it comes with a big penalty in unsprung mass, which makes tuning the car's handling a real nightmare. And here is the massive catch. It's a huge but. All that amazing performance potential is locked away behind a mountain of software complexity. You need a mature, battle-tested control system to make it work, and that's something that takes even the best teams 2 or 3 years to develop. Without it, a 4WD car can feel twitchy, unstable, and honestly, it can be even slower than a well-developed 2WD car. So, whether you choose the safe path of reliability or you gamble on a path to the podium, it doesn't matter. Both strategies run straight into the same great filter. The one engineering challenge that can and will derail everything if you don't respect it: heat. Now, to beat the heat, you have to understand where it really comes from. And that means you have to understand something called RMS thermal load. See, your peak power creates a big spike in temperature, sure, but that's not what kills you. It's the sustained, continuous, average heat that builds up over that whole 22-kilometer race. That's what soaks your entire system and leads to failure. When you're running at peak power, your powertrain is basically a giant space heater. Just look at this breakdown. The motors themselves are obviously the biggest source of heat, but the inverters, the electronic brains that control everything, they're pumping out a ton of heat too, and those things are notoriously sensitive to high temperatures. So here's the bottom line for a new team. Your cooling system has to be designed, from day one, to continuously get rid of something like 10 to 12 kilowatts of heat. And that pizza oven analogy, that's not me exaggerating. That's literally the scale of the thermal problem you're trying to solve. It is a massive engineering challenge. Which brings us right back to where we started, that strategic crossroads. We've looked at the two paths, and we've looked at the big, scary filter that affects them both. So how do you, as a new team, make the right call? Well, as your consultant, my job is to give you a clear, data-driven way to think about this, not just my opinion. This decision matrix lays it all out. It weighs the things that matter most to a first-year team. Can you actually build it? Can you afford it? Can you control it? And when you look at it through that lens, the data points overwhelmingly in one direction. The smart, strategic choice is the 2WD architecture. So at the end of the day, it all comes down to this one final question your team has to answer. Because the choice you make here, it doesn't just define your powertrain. It defines your team's identity, its strategy, and its goals for your entire first year. Are you building to finish, or are you building to win? The choice is yours.